here. Welcome to Real Red Flag Life. Yes, even if you have red flags and you can't get away with them, get away from them. In my last video, we probably know that there's a high risk of heading straight into one. And when you do now possess red flags, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Videos coming up will be a bit more demographic, red flag demographic specific. Some hacks, for lack of a better concept, hacks on how to live with particular red flags. With the past videos, I think I'm up to number 16 or something around there at the moment. I've hinted at what we've probably got to do, lower expectations, let's be honest, and those sort of concepts, right? So today the theme, the subject matter, the clickbait, not really clickbait, no one's going to look for this in a title, future relationship predictions. Clumsy attempt. I don't know. I'm actually making this episode before I type the, all the show details and whatever. So that's the working title. You know how authors have working titles, and then by chapter 19, how about do? Oh yeah, do. Anyway, so. Relationship predictions. In the whole MGTOW movement and the whole feminism thing, the whole conspiracy and philosophy and end of days, end of times, thoughts, the whole conspiracy thing like globalists, communists, the Jews, electromagnetic radiation, the satellites and the vaccine and the COVID, it's going to kill us all, and the end of times, feeding into revelations, and then you got, I guess globalists and communists, same sort of deal with the whole conspiracy complex, philosophy-wise, probably feeds into the political thing with the whole woke thing. It's leading us down a path of demonizing the family, the white male, and the like. I don't know what else. That's enough, I think. That might be enough to mention, to whet your appetite in the sort of spaces that people live in, of where they think future relationships wise, but also roundabout wise, how the human race, how society is going to end up in years, decades and centuries to come. What spurred on this subject today, this topic, this riff, rant, diatribe, monologue, I was listening to a Brett Weinstein discussion with an MIT artificial intelligence AI geek. I don't think he's a professor or a PhD student. I think he's just attending MIT. But anywho, Friedman. Anyway, he's Russian. Anyway, so this interview was done in June of this year, 2021, and polygyny showed up. Polygyny came up as a subject. What was polygyny? And I didn't have to look it up. Basically, they were defining it as they were riffing on the subject of polygyny, and a prediction was made of maybe we'll end up being polygynous. So pretty much polygynists went down the track of where the alpha males or the dominant males, more accurately, the females gravitate to the dominant males to make sure that they have safety and security. Feeds into my safety and security thing that women, what do women want and how they think and what they value? Safety and security. So I've got a whole episode on what women want, which is pretty much what they value. What women want is probably more than a 20, 40, 60 minute talk, right? But in many ways, we can sum it up in minutes as well. Women are natural hypergamists. They strive for the most highest status man they can find. In this day and age, it's very quite looks oriented, but I would contend that looks part is a way of when there's a tall man, a good looking man, he's got a much better chance of getting ahead in the world, as in protecting the woman, also bringing home some bacon. There are short, unattractive guys that can bring home some good bacon too, right? But they're the geniuses of the suit wearing, clean cut 50s, 60s man. But women value the rougher, physically bigger, aggressive sort of man these days, because I've referenced in the past where women are a barometer of how society might end up going. And by gravitating to a hairy, tattered up, muscular, tall, good-looking gent indicates protection. Yes, my hand is always there. Sorry, I'm a Serb, you know. Italians too, right? Yeah, European. Anyway, that's a good excuse to have anyway. So that's a rationalisation, perhaps, in a evolutionary biology standpoint. It makes some good reasoning sense. If you come from a biblical or religious standpoint, you can't really explain that. Yes, there's women that like a clean cut. Doesn't matter if they're 6 foot man that is just under six figures. Yeah, if a man is funny, sensitive, and all that sort of thing, and they earn okay money, they're clean cut, bit of a dad bod, some women will accept that. They will value that. And if there's a man that's probably 5'6", earning $250,000, like a bit of a techie, well, you better be earning the $250,000 to get a decent sort of woman. And if you're clean cut, this woman might think that this particular woman, maybe 10%, 20% of women that like, the ultra clean cut type suave looking man. I don't know, it's probably 50%, but I don't know, I'll just use that as a guide. Because often high status women tend to go for something rougher, around the edges with the guys, and that's why I'm saying the 20%. So yeah, just a bit of a thought, but so if it's negative that high status women are going for, I saw motorbikes, bike. Anyway, ultra high status women thinking the rough man will give the best possible chance of keeping the resources coming in, and also safety and protection. Yes, okay. I've riffed too much on the barometer part. Maybe that's a what women want. They will just women will rationalise this pick in men, like if a man is big, rough, perhaps bearded, tatted up, muscular, tall, and earning six figures, that's like half of 1%, probably even less. But anywho, the ultra high status women, if they really see some bad times coming, and if there's even less powerful men out there, there is a possibility of polygyny. And polygyny is probably an interchangeable term, I'd say, with polygamy, polyamory. Yeah, interchangeable. With Muslims, I guess you can marry up to, is it 4 wives or is it 3 wives? 3 wives for sure. I'm not sure about the 4th, but anyhow, that's the polygamy part. Polygyny is even more than 3 and 4 wives. Polygyny is like, it certainly still fits into polygyny, but polygyny, I guess, in the primate realm, dominant male, dozen partners, 2 dozen partners, or the whole tribe, perhaps. I don't know. In wartime, Nazi women, they had a roll of the dice, didn't they? So, who should they align with? Aligning with the Nazis? Or should they align with the Red Army? Gee, it didn't actually make too much difference. The Red Army just would have raped them anyway, and so it was a pretty bad spot for Nazi women back at that time. But basically, before 1,000 years ago, pretty much before the Magna Carta, perhaps, and before marriage was a legal thing. There's a lot of thoughts on marriage where women were a chattel. That's a whole different discussion, but I think lineage protection was part of that. You need to think back how they thought at the time about their own safety and security, specific, like time specific, era specific, lineage protection versus possession. That'll be thought of these days more so, but you have to think about where laws originated from, and they were from the higher classes. So progeny protection, to identify progeniture, that sort of thing, right? So that's where my thoughts are with why marriage became a thing in the eyes of God and that sort of thing. Biblical, before 1,000 years ago, take a wife, it was just taking a wife. Like, there was no in front of God, Old Testament type stuff, like you just take a wife, you take her, whatever that sort of meant in the Old Testament. But so what I'm trying to unpack as I go, as you can probably gather, that I'm prepared, just riffing along, just talking shit. Yes, I'm in the process of unpacking as I go, as most of my videos will suggest. My health videos, there's no unpacking there, there's some good shit, but anyway. So polygyny might be a step that alpha male seeking women, or alpha women seeking the alpha males, might resort to. Will it be within the decade, within a few decades, or never happening? But polygyny has often been a case in human history. Men with plenty of resources, and how does a woman survive? Where the resources are at, and that's the reality. And because most men are able to gain some sort of resource, especially, you know, in this day and age, if you're 30 and you're still going to be playing computer games and, you know, earning 20 grand a year, well, you'll be 60 and you'll be flat out sort of trying to even get, you know, a half homeless woman to live with you. And that's why we don't see too many homeless women, because they just need to offer up access if they're not too mentally unwell and they have resources. It's not popular to talk about it in that manner. Let's be honest though, right? Let's be honest. So, polygyny might be a future relationship outcome, acceptance, gravitating to, how would you term it any other way? Say Bezos, like, you know, Jeff Bezos, multi-billionaire in stocks, like, you know, there's not that much cash on hand, but, you know, we forget that billionaires don't really have too many liquid assets. Like, yeah, they might have $1 million, like $50 million ready to use at a particular moment, or that sort of thing. Yeah, fair enough. But the billions, it's not as if, imagine if Jeff Bezos had to just relinquish 100 billion just to give to, you know, just to be a like a Bill Gates, and just to give it to, oh, if we have $100 billion, let's make a vaccine so we can eradicate disease, and I'll just sell my Amazon stocks and solve the problem. Well, imagine dumping onto the market 100 billion worth of Amazon stocks. Markets will go into turmoil, right? So yeah, it's not that liquid. So billionaires aren't that liquid, but women just think, oh, imagine all the Botox and the, you know, the trips and $1,000 meals we could have with that. Woo! Yeah. Women can be a little bit unreasonable with their thoughts. So sorry to riff in that manner, but and also Jeff Bezos, I saw an article, billionaire betas, like, you know, whatever the whole alpha and beta thing is, but for lack of better concepts, mentioning the idea of alphas and that sort of thing, it just means high status, able to bring resources, bring home the bacon. Okay, yeah, there might be some looks in there somehow. You know, is Trump an alpha, all that sort of thing, and you know, the likes of Brett Weinstein would say that no, Trump is just an anxious guy, and he just seeks power and that sort of thing, and he's not really an alpha. And when you start with that rationalising of what alphas are, you can get off the beaten track. Basically, an alpha is what brings home the bacon, what women want, resources, status, for the vanity, right? So even if you're Trump and you're not really an alpha, you're just this anxious power monger and this and that, and orange man this and psychopath that, and misogynist, and whatever you want to say about Trump or Bezos. He's just a billionaire beta and this and that. Well, if women want that, you can't call them betas. You can't call them betas. Anyway, so with Bezos, I should have probably used Elon Musk. He's probably a better personality for this, but yeah, billionaires. Okay, I'm just gonna keep on going with Bezos. If he welcomed, if he doesn't give a damn about what his board of directors, shareholders, and the public thinks about him and Amazon, and a dozen women wanted to be part of his home nest, family. It's a bit messy, but if women want to be part of that, some women might. For like those 18, 22-year-old sort of sugar daddy, after sugar daddy types, there's the whole sugardaddy.com, I don't know, basically young little whores, right? Yeah, that's what that is all about. Officializing or validating higher class prostitution. Okay, unfair to call them whores, but when you offer access for resources, prostitution. Okay, in that respect, the sugar babies or sugar daddy, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get to, but yes, I've mentioned that a woman offers access for a husband's resources. Oh, that's prostitution. Well, the difference there, okay, it's not really prostitution. They're not whores. The difference there is kids. Okay, family, kids. Okay, that's where that difference is. It's a proper division of labour. Women deciding to go down the route of polygyny or polygamy. There's the same sort of investment in. I'd like to have kids. It may as well be with a billionaire that has 11 other wives. You can't legalise that, especially in the Western world. You can't legalise polygyny, but there may be some unofficial polygynous type arrangements. Women will poo-poo me talking about this option, even for them to consider this option. But if you had a choice between a dude that's on 80k or a dude that's on 80 mil, most women will choose the 80 mil. Even though the 80k dude, the 80,000 a year dude will probably give her more of the share, like probably in whole terms, like not just proportion terms, but even in aggregate terms, the 80k dude will probably give more to that example than the 80 mil dude, because the 80 mil dude has got his stocks, bonds, investments, and the chick may not get access to 50k. But for the 80k dude, the chick's got to get access to 50k. If it's not directly, well, you know, out of the 20k perhaps that the dude pays in tax, 20 or 30k, she's probably got to get even more from the 80k dude. So how about that? Like for people that are going to poo-poo my how could you say choosing 80k or 80 million dollar guy? You can't say that. It's terrible. Ooh, well, there you go. I'm giving out the possibility that the woman that chooses the 80k a year guy might actually get more in total dollar terms, because the 80 million dollar guy isn't that liquid a lot of the time. So it's just a thought with that, just to, you know, not piss too many people off, but yeah, that's a possibility. Okay. So in a time of crisis, let's reference the possibility of scenarios. You know, if we got into a world war situation or a shit hits the fan situation where electromagnetic frequency issue or pandemic, I don't think there's ever going to be a pandemic ever, because I don't think it's even possible, because I don't subscribe to germ theory. Oh my god, yeah, I don't. But that's a whole other episode, perhaps. I've already published on it on my podcast. I think I might add it into the. I think it's on the show notes. I've been adding to most episodes. So anyway, and so pandemics, no, I don't think that'll ever be an issue. EMFs, toxicity, this and that, maybe. World war, more maybe, even though it's unlikely, because there's other ways to gain power with the elites, and we can't really land grab anymore, because land isn't much of a value anymore. Alliances and the whole gig and financial space is more of a battlefield than land will ever be going forward, like in the current scope of what we have to fight for. I don't know. But yeah, so in a crisis, whatever it may be, I've just referenced a couple just for couple's sake. Women might have to make a decision for the guy that lives behind a big wall and gate, and there might be 7 other women, 24 other women in there. Will they make that choice for survival? Maybe, because they've done it in the past. Angel versus mammal. You can think angel all you want, but if it comes down to survival, even women have got to do what they got to do. Like men need to do what they need to do on a battlefield, in business, in the street. So it might be an option. Polygyny might be an option, and therefore maybe 0.1% let's even just say 1% for proportion's sake, rather. 1% of men that got access to 80% of women. Oh shit. Oh, yeah, straight away people will be thinking, oh, what, 80, 1%, 80% equals, bloody 80 women each, and those sort of numbers. It doesn't really mean that, but yeah, like 0.1% might have 200 women, and the bottom 0.1% might have three women type thing. So yeah, and so women need to make tough decisions. Will there be moral-based communities, tunnel people, where polygyny will be frowned upon, and it'll just be this kibbutz type arrangement, where you just rub your squishy bits together, and sometimes there'll be children, but there won't be any official families and that sort of thing, but everyone owns everything else in the tunnel type thing. Options. Who knows, right? But polygyny is an option, and even if the shit doesn't hit the fan, even if there is no end of days or crisis in our lifetime or in a millennia, because let's face it, even a millennium ago, people thought that end of days are just around the corner all the time. We think it now, and we'll think it in 150 years. We're always going to be thinking that, because it's in our psyche. It's in the Bible. When it comes, if it comes, who knows on that, right? So, options for women. And what do the men do? Well, they're going to fight. They're going to fight for dominance. A lot of it is survival. And for some, it's they want access to all those women, and that's what'll get them to fight well. But the dudes that already got resources, all the security that the dudes will have, or whole armies fighting against each other in a micro, civil war type thing. Who knows? Yes, there will be women that will be raped. It's in our history, because people have done things in history, and we can't think that we won't do the same sort of thing, because we're still do mammalian choices, mammalian decision making for life and death. It's not as if we're not going to fight if someone's coming at us with a sword, spear, or some of us will just take it, take the painful death. Some will just try and fight in a futile manner, but they'll try and fight it off, or defend, or fight back, and whatever. But we still got to do what we got to do. And for women, polygyny will be an option. And that 1% of men will just say, yep, I'll take that. But there's risks even for the guys. Oh yeah. And for the 99% of guys that want access, there may be some strife. So whatever the scenario, negative scenario that we may head towards, whether it's 7 years, 700 years, whatever, the whole monogamous arrangement may not always exist, because it's not always been there. It's only been there for 1,000 years, and in the scope of human history, it's not much. And there are advantages to monogamy, and that is family and kids. if you don't want kids and you're in a monogamous relationship, well, you're just doing it out of just cookie cutter, peer social norms. If it doesn't involve kids, you may as well not be doing it if you're in that age bracket. If you're like a 50 plus, been divorced and that sort of thing, and hoping to marry someone, what do you bloody, it's not for family, it's just for status, norm's sake, pride, status, belonging in your community, parish, to be credible in your career or whatever. Yeah. So even in that respect, we choose monogamous relationships for certain social and status gain. Let's say ego. But in a crisis, women will need to do what they need to do, and men will also do what they need to do. And often, we've got history to go on, it may not be pleasant. And for women to make sure they get fed, need to make decisions which are quite negative. They need to offer access to get fed. Yes, many could say that that's the arrangement now with marriages. Well, yeah, you could say that, but it's, in a childbearing age, it's about the children. And if it's not about the children, well, yes, it's not very likely. It is the case that it's a resource, it's a transaction. I've even got a episode called Relationship Transaction, or Transactions in Relationships, or whatever the title is, and I riff on that as well. So being angel and mammal, that's another title. Do you see the theme here? But yes, I'm going a bit longer now, and I think I'm running out of steam, and I hope I've made a moral of the story, a point that polygyny might be an option for women, or polygamy, or three-way relationships and all that sort of thing. We've heard of that, but that's it's not really resource related. It's just like a fetishy thing. And tell you what, there'll be a lot of politics, polyamorous, polygamy type arrangement. I'll tell you, woo-wee. The politics and the catty stuff, and the gossip, and the slut shaming, what else? You know what I'm trying to get at. Will be very fierce. So, okay, prediction wise, even without a crisis of whatever the examples that I was indicating before, whether it's war, health, or out of this world event, even without any of that, some women have it in them to perhaps make a decision to make themselves available for an ultra alpha man that has resources, that's a millionaire, billionaire, because they'd rather have access to millions than 20k, 70k a year, whatever the case may be. Possible. And the whole sugar baby complex is a signature, a leading indicator of such. Women that would like to be toddlers forever may be an option that they're going to consider. I hope I'm wrong, because I'm on the side of the fence of we get into relationships for kids. And that's it. That's the moral of the story. The moral of today's topic. Take it or leave it, and ciao.